Welcome to Mrs. Buff's Kitchen, where we test the recipes so you don't have to. Welcome to Mrs. Buff's Kitchen. Today, we are making a quick and easy roast beef. This roast beef I like to call my mama's roast beef because my mom has been making it for us since I was very young. It's quick, easy, and only costs about 11 bucks, so that's pretty nice. It's a great recipe to make on a Saturday or Sunday night. So come join me as we make this roast beef, and make sure you check out www.mrsbuffskitchen.com for more recipe information such as ingredients, detailed cost analysis, and the directions. So come on and join me and we'll get this roast beef in the oven. Before we get out the ingredients or anything, we're going to want to go ahead and preheat our oven to 350 degrees. Which we'll get there eventually. There we go. And we'll get that preheated and then we'll go ahead and make our roast beef. So the first ingredient we need to start with on a roast beef is the roast beef. Ta-da! Now I always use, for this recipe, a chuck roast. Don't confuse that with the rump roast, just a chuck roast. I always get that confused for some reason. Maybe it's because I once knew a chuck that was a rump. Okay, let's go ahead and get the chuck roast. See, I do that all the time. And we get that in our Dutch oven, or just big round pot, whatever you want to call it. And again, use your tongs. Keep hands nice and clean. Once again, clean your hands. And then I just pour enough water to cover the bottom of my Dutch oven, which is typically about a cup and a half. So we'll go ahead and pour that, not over the roast beef, but around it. Again, so it just covers the bottom. In fact, that looks like that's enough. So actually we have about a half a cup left, so I'm just going to go ahead and put a cup in. So our next ingredient is our Lipton Beefy Onion Soup Dry Mix. All you have to do is rip it open and then pour it over your roast. And I like to get some in the water, give it some flavor. Get it all out. Then we'll use my spatula and just kind of scoop it all over, make sure everything's covered, which is pretty good. And then the next step, simple, just put a lid on it. Something I'm used to telling my husband on a regular basis. Put a lid on it. Okay, so now what we have to do is just put it in the oven. Okay, so we're getting this in the oven. Okay, since I'm cooking a 2-pound chuck roast, we'll set the timer to 2 hours. What I'll then do is go ahead and check it at 2 hours. By checking it, what I mean is I'll use a fork to see how tender it is. If the meat just falls right off with the fork, then it is good to go. However, if it's still a little rough and doesn't fall off with the fork, I'll continue cooking it for 30 minutes. Again, I'll check it at 30 minutes and so on until it just falls off with the fork. Now, if you need to cook a larger roast beef, if your family is larger, mine feeds about 4 people. So say you do a 3-pound roast beef, I would just add an extra hour onto your cooking time. So let's go ahead and let it cook for that 2 hours and see how it looks at that time. We'll be right back after this Sunday football break. There's nothing better than watching football with my boys. Yeah, football season is great, but I'm hungry. You know what? That reminds me. We need to have some chips and queso. Don't miss my upcoming football special. Yay! Okay, here comes my fantasy defense. It's been 2 hours. Let's see if it's done. Turn that annoying timer off. Get it out of the oven. Go ahead and get that on the counter here. I'm going to go ahead and close the oven door up. Not a fire hazard. Then we're going to go ahead and do the fork test. And what that is, we go ahead and put a fork in the roast and see if it falls apart pretty easily. And if it does that, then we know it's done. I can tell you what, it sure smells like it's done. Nothing better than the smell of a roast cooking. Oh yeah, see? See how if you just take it and it just falls apart when you put your fork in, you even need a knife. It is good to go. Now don't be freaked out by the burnt stuff underneath. You're not eating that, so you don't have to worry about it. But you do want to soak your pan. So we'll go ahead and get that on the table, and I'm going to have my husband taste test this one because my boys hate roast beef. Okay, so now I'm behind the camera so I can videotape Matt eating it, and he can tell me how it tastes. I apologize if the video is a little shaky in this portion.
All right, well, I love roast beef. I am a meat eater of all kinds, and what I like about roast beef is when it falls off the fork, and this certainly does. So let's try it and see how it compares to what I've had in the past. Very good, very smooth, and there was no sauces or anything needed for it. That is delicious roast beef.
And you're not just pandering?
No, I'm not.
Okay, thanks.
All right, I'm going to eat now.
Thanks. Okay, so this one's a keeper. Now, go to my blog at mrsbuffskitchen.com and you can check out more information about the recipe, such as directions, again the link, and any comments I had about it on suggestions. Thank you for joining us today, and I'll see you next time.